Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Maria Gonçalves podcast. And today we have a special guest who's all the way in Brazil on vacation right now. And I'm so excited for her to be here. And please help me as I pronounce her name. Is it Mayara? I don't think I could say it properly.
Mayara.
Mayara. So Mayara is a devoted behavioral holistic nutritionist and a Reiki healer. And just so you guys know, she's actually located in Toronto, but she is in Brazil on vacation right now. And she has been so gracious to do this interview with us. She is a devoted behavioral holistic nutritionist and Reiki healer whose transformative journey from childhood elements to confronting emotional traumas has shaped her into a compassionate and empathetic healer. Her experiences have forged a deep connection with her clients, enabling her to understand and assist them on their path towards wholeness. Her holistic approach to nutrition addresses complex issues such as emotional eating, disordered eating, and the psychological aspects of food relationships. By exploring eating patterns, childhood traumas, and limiting beliefs, she empowers individuals to take charge of their well-being. So welcome, welcome. And what I
Thank you
do,
so much for
yes,
having me here today.
yes, we're so excited. So before we hit the record button, we were talking about your name because it is so unique and it is such a beautiful name. Can you share with our listeners about your name, how it came to be that you were given this beautiful name?
So, my dad fell in love with the indigenous culture here in Brazil, specifically north of Brazil. And he decided to name me and my sister after goddess. So, he named me Mayara, which means goddess of water. And he named my sister after another goddess in the indigenous culture. And I believe he got this inspiration as I found out from Diana that my background, spiritual background, it is indigenous. So I think that's why he got this idea of naming me after indigenous culture and tribe.
I love that. That's beautiful. So today, while you are here with us for this time, we thought we would talk about New Year, New You, because everybody is doing New Year's resolutions. And I find the thing, like personally myself, I struggle with the food. So for people that are trying to do the New Year, New Me, how would you help them out? Can you break it down for us? What is the best way for them to approach it so they don't get completely overwhelmed? Because I feel like I get overwhelmed like in January because you see like diet here, diet there, lose 50 pounds, lose 10 pounds, lose 5 pounds, join the gym,
Yeah.
do this. And it's just like the ads, I find them so overwhelming. But you don't do that. You have a holistic approach. So if you could share that with us.
So I would say that the number one thing that make people give up on the New Year's resolution, it's how many goals they try to achieve in just a couple of months. Changing your, entire life in, in just a couple of months, it's very overwhelming. So I would suggest people to start slow, changing habits. For example, prioritize your sleep, add some vegetables to your diet, add more fresh fruits, whole nuts, try to switch from, prepackaged foods to homemade foods if you can, or adding homemade meals a couple of times a week, keeping yourself hydrated. It's very important. Light exercise. You don't need to go to the gym and, start lifting weight and, lose 50 pounds in a couple of months. That's crazy. Everything should be, gradually and slow. So, start going for walks or finding exercises that make you feel good about yourself. For some people will be yoga, for other people will be going to the gym, for other people will be running or, cycling. So anything that makes you feel good, you should do. You should not force yourself to do anything. Everything should be, enjoyable and pleasure. You shouldn't be waking up in the morning stressed out that you gotta go to the gym before going to work. Just try to fit small things into your daily life.
Oh, I like that. Break it down and make it simple. Keep it simple because I think that's what happens. It's New Year's and everybody's like, "What's your New Year's resolution?" And the weight loss and eating healthier, I think, is at the top of most people's vision board or that goal. And then by January 31st, we forgot about it. It's no
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
because you got
You know,
too many goals. And I love that you say that
yeah.
because I will listen to people and be like, I got this goal, that goal. And I'm like, I just got to keep my life simple. I'm going to focus on drinking water and adding more vegetables, the walking. I like that we don't have to go to the gym. But for those that want to go, fantastic, go. But for those that are beginning, so walk me through it. If I were to be like a new client of yours, and how does that process work for somebody that's so overwhelmed by the social media and all of like, you must be super skinny right now in 30 days? How would your holistic approach help someone? Let's pretend it's me. Help somebody like me that's like, that's a lot.
So the first thing we're going to do is to talk about your life, your habits, what you eat, your past events in your life, because losing weight is not just about your physical body, it's also your emotional body. We store fat as protection, emotional protection. And I talk about that because I experienced that. I was holding on a lot of weight, extra weight, to protect myself from emotions and trauma and feelings and healing that I needed to do that I was avoiding, to do. So we're going to sit down and talk about your entire life. And then we're going to break down into nutrition. What can you add to your life? Foods that you like, because you can't just give the same diet to everyone, right? Some people like chicken, other people hate chicken. So, you gotta be flexible. So we're gonna start slowly adding healthier foods to your life. We are gonna choose together exercise or activities that you enjoy, like going for walks, or running, or I don't know, spinning. People have different tastes, in life. We don't need to all do the same things. We don't have to look all the same, right? Your physical appearance, it's not the most important thing.
Mm,
What is important, it's your health, right? It's how you feel. It is if your blood work is good, right? It's how you are getting older, right? You feel good about yourself or feel tired, right? We don't all need to look the same. That's crazy. We have different bodies, different shapes, different lives, right? So we will never look the same. So I think social media just make a little bit overwhelming because everybody's trying to do the same things and look the same thing and have the same life, right? That
mm.
perfect life where you wake up 5 a.m. and go to the gym and then have a green juice, right? Then you do yoga and meditate. Like life doesn't work this way. So we're going to tailor a health nutrition package according to your life and your taste and what you need at the moment, because what you need right now, it's not going to look like the same way what you need in 6 months,
Mm.
right? Progress, you will need different things, maybe different supplements later on. So the whole holistic nutrition, it's about addressing everything in your life, not just food, but also emotions, also trauma, also things you're not dealing with. Maybe problems with family or your partner or at work. All that impacts your overall health. So we need to look at everything.
Wow, that is so true because we think, or at least this is what I see, is you see the beautiful models on Instagram and on magazine covers, and then you think, oh, it's the physical, it's just about the physical. But I love how you break it down and you let us, there's so much more than just that physical body and health being number one because that's the most important part. Because I've heard where people will like starve themselves just to have the physical, but it's not healthy. So I like that you talk
Exactly.
about it, that we're all different shapes and sizes, honoring that and living in different parts of the world, we have access to different types of food.
Yes, that's true. Um, I've noticed that firsthand when I moved to Canada. Here in Brazil, people have a diet based on a lot of beans and rice and a lot of fresh fruits and fresh juice. And in Canada, because it's a colder weather, you need
Mm.
more meat, you need more dairy, right? So people tend to eat more fatty foods, heavier foods, because you cannot eat a salad in January because
I
it's
tried.
crazy.
It doesn't work. I've made the salads and then they rot 2 days later because I'm like, but I'm so cold and that salad's cold and then I'm gonna be cold. So I noticed I'm making more
Exactly.
soups to stay warm.
Yes, you want the warm food, right? So go for stews and soups, anything that's warm. Let people eat salad in the summertime when you need to keep yourself like cool.
And then for myself, I'm from Portugal. So in Portugal, our diet is Mediterranean. So it's high in fish. You got your olives. Everything has olive oil. If there is a meal without olive oil, it's a little bit weird, but everything has olives, it has fish, you have your potatoes, you have your rapini, you have like the traditional foods, but yes, and then also the culture, the weather, like it's hotter, so you're outside so like every day, almost every day, unless it's raining because their winter is rain, not snow. You're outside and it's a very active culture because of the weather. Whereas I find here in Canada and Ontario, like if we have snowstorms and ice storms, nobody's going outside. It's not safe for us to go outside because we're gonna
Yeah.
fall. So it's safer to stay inside. So I find too, with the winters, we naturally put on more weight because we're not as active because of the weather where we're living, is just a simple fact about that.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's good that we're talking about this because I think with internet, people tend to want the same things. So you have a lot of content creators that live in warm countries, telling people to have smoothies in the morning and go, do meditation. And they do these beautiful videos in nature, and that's not the reality for people that live in Canada, like in January and February, right? So you need to find ways that we can keep active or more active in the winter without going crazy because weight gain during the winter is normal. It's a natural mechanism of the body, right? You need to keep
Yeah.
yourself alive, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to put a little bit more fat to keep your organs functioning well, to keep your hormones balanced. That's all part of how the body works. So I would suggest people. I wasn't born in Canada, but I'm pretty sure that a person born in Canada would know many sports, winter
Yes.
sports. They're fun and nice to do during the winter time.
They are. And there's also malls are open. So I know the city I live in, one of the larger malls, they have mall walking. I don't know if the mall opens at 7 or 8. I know by 8 it's open. I don't know if it's open at 7. So check your local malls for those that don't feel comfortable going to the gym. If you can get to a gym, fantastic. But for those that are not comfortable or just it's not your thing or it's just not within your financial range because gym memberships are not cheap either.
Yeah.
A lot of the malls are open for people to do mall walking. Because I remember I
That's
used to do
great.
that and I loved it. Like when it was like really bad out and I couldn't get out to go walk, I would just go to the mall and just do a few laps and you'll see tons of people in the mall. So just check out the activities that are within your area. Like here we have the pools. So the pools are always open, which I love the pool. As hard as getting cold, like after you leave the pool and you're cold, but it's okay. It's just part of being in Canada, but it's another way of exercising and the pools are with the city, so it's a lot cheaper for exercising and they do have gym equipment and stuff. So that's something people can look into it when we're being mindful of our finances and things of that nature. So I love that. Um, and then as we're doing this journey, getting a healthier, you talked about the healing part within that journey. So do you want to go there? We had talked about that before off screen, so I'm bringing that into this conversation.
Yeah. So I feel that since 2020, 2019, the energies of the planet are changing. And I think we're getting more sensitive and looking inwards. I believe during the pandemic, a lot of people start looking inwards about the problems they were ignoring, family problems or work problems. A lot of people changed careers. So I believe that this healing process, this healing journey, it's getting more evident and more out there for a lot of people, right? We all have problems, we all have trauma, we all have shadow work to do.
Mm.
And, you can't avoid it. This life, you need to take some time and look inwards and get to know yourself and heal every aspect of you that hurts so you can evolve, so you can feel happier, so you can, fulfill your mission this planet. And I help people with Reiki healing, right? To help them heal the emotional parts of their body and their energetic body, not just the physical body, to make that energy flow and help them with this healing journey. It's not an easy process. Everybody goes through different things, but I believe Reiki has the power to make energy more fluid, right? Reiki helps people to release the stored energies, the stored trauma, because everything that happens in your life gets stored in your body, not just your physical body, but your energetic body. So Reiki helps to break that down and release that. So your healing process is a little bit more easier than if you just sit with all that energy inside of you.
So, for our listeners that have never heard of the word Reiki or Reiki treatment or Reiki session, can you explain to them what that means?
So during your Reiki session, I am going to together, right? We're going to set intentions for what you want, um, where do you want the Reiki energy go? So I don't do the healing. I am just the instrument of the energy. So I get my hands close to your part of your body, like your chakras, in your outline body, your emotional body, and I make movements with my hands to help this energy flow and help the chakras to align and help things to heal, right? But I don't do the healing. It's the energy that does the healing. It's you, right? It's usually people that allow the energy to work in their body. So you could heal emotional things or you could heal physical things. I have a client that had a really bad kidney, the right kidney, and during the Reiki sessions, her kidney got it started working much better. She started going to the washroom very frequently, and she felt much better. Her skin cleared out just because that stagnant energy started flowing through her body.
Oh, wow. I think too with Reiki, it allows you to relax, right? And for
Yes.
those emotions that we buried so deep because we're in a state of relax, all of a sudden they come to the surface. The sadness, the anger, the overwhelm, the whatever that emotion is, because Reiki allows you to be in that state of peace and calm and for you to bring your defenses down. And the reason I'm saying that is because I'm actually a Reiki master. So I did it many, many years ago. And I'm just adding this to, I don't do sessions. That's with Mayara. She does the sessions. But I think it's so beautiful that these things do come up. So if people are on the table and they begin to cry, like how do you help them through those emotions?
So the body can release the emotions different ways, right? Some people release emotions through allergies, other people will cry, other people will laugh nonstop. So it's important not to do anything, just let the body get rid of those emotions, right? Let your body purge everything out the way you were supposed to. So I just usually guide my clients through the session, whatever the need they feel, to cry, to laugh, whatever they feel, whatever they're feeling, they are not supposed to hold on. They're just supposed to relax and let that go.
So I am curious, as a Reiki practitioner, when you're doing the Reiki on people, do you get messages or do you feel or sense things that you pass on to your clients? Or is it more of just you're there and you're the channel for the energy for that person in that moment?
I'm open, right, to whatever message comes. Sometimes I see things like colors. This client that I told you about her kidney, I saw like a red spot on her right side, and that's how I knew it was, the kidney. And I asked if she had any issues. Sometimes I hear there was one client that she had nothing in her body, her physical body, but she carried so much guilt towards her husband that died. And I just saw this message that she needed to let go. It wasn't her fault the way he died, and she needed to let go of that guilt. So it depends on the person. I'm always open, and I set my intentions, whatever that person needs to hear, or if just physical, I'm just open to let the person know I'm just like an instrument from the energy or guides or whatever, to let the person know whatever the person needs to know.
I love that. And you touch upon something that's really, I think is a big deal, is the word guilt. Because guilt, whatever that is, because it could be guilty of, hey, I didn't finish university, or guilt of, I failed that course, or I didn't do enough. Guilt affects us. People don't realize it. It affects us emotionally, but also physically. We could become physically sick. And that's why going to healers, and the healers just help us relax so we can address the issues that we have. But I think that's such a powerful emotion. And I know everybody at one point or another within their life, they have felt guilty,
Yes. Yeah, it's a
right?
big thing for everybody. Everybody has something related to that. Everybody's carrying guilt for some reason. And guilt manifests in the physical body with liver problems, stomach problems, intestine problems, but also it can manifest in the body as weight problems, right? You're cushioning yourself, you're carrying weight because you feel guilty of not doing something or doing something. And I think that we try very hard to forgive others, right? For things they have done to us. But the most hard thing that people have problems doing, or it's very difficult for everybody to do, is to forgive yourself. And being guilt, it's exactly that. It's your inability to forgive yourself for something, right? It's not being compassionate toward yourself at that moment in your life that you were not able to do differently, that you were not able to choose a different path, and you are carrying that responsibility and that emotion towards that action that you took. But we cannot sit here in the present, right, and complain about the past self, that person that only had the choice or only had the ability to choose that. Because right now we have the conscious that we could choose differently, but at that moment maybe we didn't have. Maybe we were not aware that we had a different path.
That is so true. I remember years ago speaking with a shaman, and he said to me, goes, people do the best they can with what they have and know at that time. And that helps with the forgiveness of ourselves, because we beat ourselves up but that person at that point in time did the best they could with what they had, and acknowledging that. And I feel that helps relieve the guilt, helps us, because we're the ones that put the guilt on us. Many times it's not
Yes,
anybody from the outside world. Like whether you get an A+ on your exam or you get a 70, the outside world doesn't really care. It's us. We put that pressure on ourselves, maybe sometimes our parents, but for the most part, if we're adults, it's us. We're doing it to ourselves, or we're making it hard on ourselves. And it's just like, you know what? I did the best I could at that present moment in my time. And you never know, like, life happens. Like,
exactly. And I feel there's a pressure in our society. We learn, right, to blame ourselves for everything, to try to be better, right, to be competitive, to be on top of everything, to work and raise kids and have a healthy life and make a lot of money. And life doesn't happen this way, and doesn't happen the same way for everybody. So letting go of that guilt, that feeling of the need to be perfect, the need to do everything, right? And
mhm,
forgive yourself and embrace your imperfections or your inabilities to do things at moments, because we learn more at those moments than we learn when we make lots of money, when we are, feeling great. So life is about learning the lessons. So if you now are sitting here and you are
mhm.
able to forgive yourself, it's because you learned the lesson.
Wow. What is that old saying? What you resist will persist. That's a quote. So whatever you keep trying to ignore and not deal with, it will just keep coming back and back and back until you deal with that emotion, whatever that emotion is.
That's true. That's true. And we'll come back harder and harder and louder. So you, look at it. You can't
That's
ignore.
That is so true. I find things will happen. I'll just be like, yeah, yeah. I'll hear spirit as a whisper, and I'll be like, yeah, yeah, I'll deal with that. And then like 2 weeks later, it gets a little bit louder. It's like, yeah, 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 I'll deal with it. And then like, I don't know, 4 weeks later, now I'm sick in bed because I kept ignoring, being like, I'll get to it. I'll get to it. It's not important right now. It's like in my mind, it wasn't a big deal at that, but apparently it was, and I just kept ignoring it, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and then you get ill, and then you're like, "Whoa, I got that message like a month ago, but I kept ignoring it to take care of my health or to take care of whatever it is, and I kept ignoring it, and then it's like, oh, now we're here. Now we're in almost like, if you will, like crisis mode, because now it's like, now we're sick. Now we're no longer in preventative mode. It's like, now I'm sick. Now I got to figure out how to get unsick. Whereas if I listened to my body a month ago, I wouldn't be here. I'd be in proactive mode. So
Exactly.
how do you find, like, a lot of people we just ignore? We just ignore our
Oh,
healing
yeah.
journey?
I've done that a lot. I've ignored a big part of my life with my last relationship, that it wasn't working. I wasn't supposed to be with him. I wasn't happy, and I kept going and kept pushing until we got to, a hard point, in our life, and we decided to separate. Um, I believe that by ignoring, we're just wasting time, right?
Mhm.
Wasting our precious time, because we will need to deal with that anyways. You
Yes.
will need to deal with whatever you are ignoring anyways. So instead of postponing, instead of, tomorrow I will do it, just deal with it right now. So I believe that this healing process of dealing with whatever you need to do, it's getting stronger and stronger with every passing year. People
Mhm.
are not able to move their lives if they're carrying a lot of baggage, right? I don't know, what's happening with our planet, but the energy of the planet does not allow us to carry baggages anymore. We need to heal right now. We need to look inwards. We need to get to know ourselves so we can, move to a better planet, move to higher frequencies.
Yes. I also find we are creatures of habit. Like we do the
Oh
same thing
yeah,
over and over because it feels safe. And to make the decisions and listen to those whispers that our body is telling us to do for our highest good, well, that's uncomfortable because now we have to be a new version of ourselves. And that's scary. That's probably why a lot of us ignore everything.
it
And then
is.
and then we need to go for healings, and then we need to go seek out nutritionists because we ignored all those nudges from spirit, and then we need to go see you to help us reset ourselves, right?
It's good that we have so many healers and nutritionists that can help and guide people towards a better health, because there are a lot of information out there and it's very confusing. And the information is usually like general information. It's not tailored to, an individual. So when you have someone that can, guide you and tailor, all that information to fit into your life, I believe it's easier, right? So you don't have to do it alone. You have someone to help you out. Uh, but when you keep ignoring the signals of your body, you will get sick, you'll get in bed. That's the way your body has to stop you at that moment, so you look at what you are ignoring.
I will admit I've been stopped. Last year I was working very, very hard. I was so busy and it was weird. This is interesting because at one point I told a friend I was doing like psychic fairs almost every weekend. I was doing readings every week. Like I was really busy. And by November, I was like, oh, I just feel like I can't catch my breath. And I knew I had one more fair to do. And I'm like, oh, I can't wait. Two more. I had two more fairs to finish the year. And I was like, oh, I can't wait till this is done. I'm just feeling really tired, burnt out, and I feel like I can't catch my breath. And I said that to her. And then, like a week later, I got the flu really, really bad, then ended up getting a lung infection. And we were talking, and I was like, oh my goodness, I manifested this for myself because I kept saying, I can't catch my breath. I can't catch my breath. And then when you have a lung infection, let me tell you, you really can't catch your breath because it's really hard. It's actually quite scary. But the doctors were incredible, and I was put on the right medication and the right puffers, and now my lungs are good. But I remember that feeling burned out, but still pushing through. So I was like, well, I have commitments. I have commitments. I have to keep going. Christmas almost here. I'll take time off at Christmas. So I think I'm learning the hard way because that's just the way I am. I don't listen. And I got to listen better, just like you said, listen better. And I think we all need to listen because we're just like, well, I'll take a break in 6 months, like at Christmas holidays. I'll take a break over here, but your body's screaming now.
Yes. Yes, we're
Yeah.
all guilty of that, right? Trying to do everything at once and think we can just push through and we're gonna make it, we will rest later. But the body will break. The body needs time to rest. You need to slow down a little bit, right? Take at least one day of the week to do nothing, do
Yeah.
things there that make you feel good, reading or watching a movie or being with your family, just to detach a little bit from that crazy reality of working so hard and doing so many things at once. So it's really important to slow down sometimes and catch a breath and take care of yourself, because if you don't prioritize yourself, your body will make you stop later on to prioritize yourself.
That's such, again, I'm in crisis mode again instead of proactive mode. And like for this year, for myself, as everybody does their New Year resolutions, and because I did have that health scare at the end of the year, it's just keeping it simple and also being so aware of where I'm putting my energy. And I've cut back on a lot of things and I've prioritized what's important for my energy. So I think that's something. Do you want to talk about that? Like people prioritizing, where are they? They don't need to be in 100 things every week.
Yes, prioritizing is the exactly word that people need to focus on. It's to your priority is going to look different from mine, right? But you
Yes.
need to find and what works for you, what you like, what makes you feel good. And for that, you need to know yourself, right? You need to work on yourself, because how you're going to prioritize things in your life if you don't know what you like, what your passions are, what makes you feel good, how do you feel around people, right? So prioritize your health, prioritize the relationships you have, right?
Right.
We don't need to have like 100,000 friends. We can have the people that care about us, a good community that will support us. And, get rid of people that just suck the energy out of your body and out of your life. We don't need people like this in our lives. Um, and prioritize your nutrition, yourself, self love, gratitude. I think this is the most beautiful thing and powerful thing we can do as humans, is to be grateful, even if things are hard. When you're grateful, I don't know what kind of magic it happens, but the universe just opens up a bunch of new ways and possibilities in your life, and things tend to be much easier if we are grateful for what we have, or for the difficult time we are experiencing. So priorities are very important, because we're not supposed to have this crazy life disconnected from nature, disconnected from ourselves and from especially our higher self. So we need to stop, ignoring our intuition
Mm-hmm.
and prioritize this healing journey, and all the things you need, and all the things there need to be priority for you at that moment.
I love that. That was beautiful. And now that we're coming to the end of our interview, I love to end on the note of gratitude and magic, because once you change that filter, the way you see the world, and I truly believe that two people can see the exact same situation. One will look at it and just be miserable about it, walk away angry, carry that emotion in their body. And another one will look at it and see the gratitude in it and be like, it could have been worse. And I'm so grateful that I'm here. And I remember listening to someone talking about gratitude, and she goes, have that gratitude list in the morning. Like when you wake up, what are you grateful for? And it was on a podcast. And I remember listening to her. She goes, I got to wake up today. A lot of people didn't get that opportunity. She goes, right there. That should be your biggest gratitude for that morning. I thought, oh, that's so fascinating. So
It is.
gratitude it humbles you when you start looking at life in that perspective.
It does. And, I think gratitude and being grateful became a trend, especially
Yeah.
on social media, right? Everybody talks about gratitude, but sometimes people don't even know how to start, right? Like, what is to practice gratitude? And it can be this that you just gave the example, waking up in the morning and being grateful to be alive, for being alive, or being grateful for the food you're eating right before you eat. A lot of indigenous people, every time they are going to have a meal, they always say grateful words to the people that you know made the food, or for nature for giving them the food. So being grateful for everything in your life, even if things are difficult, even if you are going through a very difficult moment, find something in your life that you can be grateful for.
That is beautiful. In prayer, whatever belief system you have, and intertwining that with the gratitude. I find I just wake up in the morning, and now it's just because I've been doing it for so many years. It's just I wake up and the first thought that I think of, what am I grateful for this morning? And then that gets my mind shifted into the mindset that I want to be in, which is gratitude. And because I've done it every single morning, as soon as I open my eyes, that's the first thought I have. It's just natural to me. And then it wires
Yes.
you different because you just walk around always grateful. Because it also is a practice. So if you've never said, I am grateful for, and all of a sudden you have to start doing it, well, it's something new. And something new is always uncomfortable. It's hard. You'll do it for 3 days, then you'll forget about it. So it's like you have to train yourself, if you will, to remind yourself, hey, today, I don't know, stick a sticky note by your bed or something, or on your mirror when you go brush your teeth in the morning. What are you grateful for today? Um, and then, oh, and then I even have like this sign over here and it says, thankful, grateful, blessed. I love
Yes,
it.
that's amazing.
I used to have it in my kitchen, and now because I moved, there's nowhere to put it, so I put it over here. And my kids used to love it because it'd be in the morning, go make their cup of coffee, tea, whatever, cereal, and they would look at it, and I'd be like, "This trains your brain." So I had it when they were younger. It's like you look at it, what are you grateful for today? So they would see it, and they would automatically go, "I am grateful for," because they see it all the time. So you can do those little cues around your house. Like I have that picture frame. There's stuff you can print off the internet, go to the dollar store, get a little frame, put it in where I am grateful for. And then every time you look at it, it helps you shift your mindset to gratitude.
Yeah, that's a great thing to have at home, right? First
Yeah.
thing that you do when you open your eyes is to look at this frame and remember to be grateful for something. I also like to have a notebook by my bedside table where I write down when I wake up every day what I'm grateful for. Um, so it's just a habit, a routine that you create to be grateful, and that just change your whole life. And then you start doing that easily. You don't need to think about it. You just wake up and do it.
I love that. Journaling, the writing part is very healing. And then they write the gratitude. And then I find too, when you're writing the gratitude, then other things come out that you didn't even know that you needed to go dive deeper or whatever that is. Like, do you find that too with journaling? Like when you're writing the gratitude?
Yes, yes, yeah. I started journaling a couple of years ago, and it just changed a lot of the trauma and emotions I needed to deal with. It was a way. I find it very easy for me to express my feelings through writing. It's much easier than talking about it. So it was a way to heal all the things I need to heal through writing, through being grateful, writing every morning what I'm grateful for, or writing about how I felt the day before, or if I had a dream, that it was interesting or weird, everything I just write down every morning. I just have those 5 minutes for myself to express myself somehow.
I love it. I love it. And on that note, I want to say thank you for spending this time with us. And it's just such a beautiful way to end our interview with gratitude, journaling, self love, self compassion for everybody to take care of themselves. And if people want to reach out to you, how would they do that?
So thank you for having me here. It was amazing. So if people want to reach out, go to my website, Mayanatura.ca, or my social media, Instagram, it's also Mayanatura.ca, TikTok, same Mayanatura.ca, Facebook, I am everywhere. Or you
That's
can
fantastic.
write me an email at Mayara@Mayanatura.ca.
Oh, that is fantastic. I will also have that in the show notes for everybody. It will also be on YouTube. So thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Bye bye, everybody.